it a lot more.
All right, so Churnwalker does come through. Now Rogue has to make their selections. What do they want for Hammy? Are they going to go for one of these kind of double bruisers with a hyper late game carry that Rogue has run quite frequently this season? But I feel like that hasn't been where the bulk of their success has come from in the past few months. So it is going to be a Lance for Evil. I love seeing Lance on or Evil with the Lance pick. It is one of his best heroes by far, and a Vox going to be the final pick. Maybe just a takeaway to get that out of Old School's hands.
They couldn't go for something like a Rona just because Cloud9 still had the ability to flex the Blackfeather into the jungle and then pick up the Vox themselves. That's why I love Cloud9's draft here, because they didn't go for a Vox instead of the Churnwalker second. They saved their last pick so that they leave Rogue guessing where Blackfeather is going to go. And they're going to end up going for the Kestrel. That's a very smart one as well, because Kestrel now outranges Vox, and now Rogue are the ones that have to initiate and have to dive into Cloud9's composition, which works in their favor since they have the Churnwalker as well, who can lock multiple targets down and can be very effective. He's a lot better at kiting than he is at initiating, especially if you have a Kestrel to protect.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to see what Cloud9 are going to be able to do with this Churnwalker pick. I think we've only seen them play it one time before. It didn't go so hot, but that was quite a while ago. That was the first day he was available. So fully expect Gabe Vizzle to be on point with this pick, especially with how they looked in game number 1. How are we expecting this one to pan out then, lads?
Yeah, I definitely feel like there's going to be some heavy difficulty by the side of Rogue to get in. This Vox, has to try and get past into the Kestrel, where she's going to be laying down these glimmer shots. That their only damage source is going to be coming out of this Vox, and it's going to be a really tough time for Hammy to get the damage necessary to win fights.
I agree with you. I think if Pawn the original does not shut down Blackfeather, if he doesn't play aggressive and invades and get advantages, it's going to be pretty hard for Rogue to win this game. C9 could shut down their hopes here.
We'll see if that's going to be the case. We'll see if this is going to be a 2-0 or if Pawn the original can control that early game. Hashtag Vainglory. Let us know whether you want Rogue to come back into this series, if you want them to keep their world's hopes alive, or if Cloud9 are the gatekeepers for you. It's time to pass it back over to Medic and Denominate and get into game 2.
And Rogue will be on the edge of their seats. They know they need this win. There's still mathematically a chance they go through to Worlds even if they lose 2-0 this week, but it's so out of their control that they need to be able to beat C9, to take the win, to take this 2-1, and keep that World spot in their grasp.
Yeah, absolutely. We see Rogue, they have Pawn and Hammy splitting the ambient gold and experience here in the backs. That is going to get them to level 2, but Cloud9 have already made their rotation over. They've already taken the Elder Treant, and Rogue missed their opportunity for that level 1 fight. Granted, it's maybe not the best level 1 for either of these teams. They're definitely going to come into mid and late game power spikes, specifically looking at the Blackfeather, gonna come online once he hits that level 8, gets the on point range extended, as well as should be finishing up the Shatterglass around that time. That's where the Crystal Blackfeather is really gonna start to have a huge effect, whereas Cole can come on in that mid to late game as well. But looking at the Vox really needs to get into that third offensive item before he's able to really take things away. It'll probably be the Poison Shiv, followed by the Sorrow Blade and the Breaking Point.
Great torment onto Hammy by Gabe Vizzle here. He's actually pulled Hammy all the way back. Hammy's taking a lot of damage and won't quite go down, does eventually fall. The on point didn't connect. I thought he'd survive there, but the hook and chain was enough to take down Hammy early on here for Cloud9.
Yeah, you really have to respect that damage over time coming out of the hook and chain in the early game. On the original gets spotted out and is going to have to go back to his side of the jungle, or at least be cautious. He's coming in, finding some Gabe Vizzle action here, but that's not really what he needed to find. It should have been the farm. And, Iraqi touched on this on the desk a little bit, is if Pawn the original doesn't make good invades, if he's not able to take some farm away from Joseph, it is going to be very difficult for him to come online in the late game. And here we go. Pawn the original, can you get the kill?
Looking for the kill on Joseph, can't quite get it with the Spectral Smite, and now he has to run away. Of course, no Crystal Sentry there yet, and Rogue won a 3-man fight. This double Impale lands, good double root. The Githian wall hits up onto all 3 as well. Hammy's so low, but will escape to the back of the fight. Pawn the original taking out some turret shots, eventually will fall. It ends up being a 1-for-1 trade, but perhaps Rogue will be happy enough with that.
1-for-1 trade, but Hammy and Evil were able to take the back camps away from I Love Joseph. That's going to prevent him from coming online quite as soon. They've, effectively delayed like 30 seconds or so out of I Love Joseph's life here on this Crystal Blackfeather. And that could be the difference in a team fight, not having time to rotate down to the jungle shop and pick up something like the Shatterglass. That could really change the outcome of the game. But upon the Original's coming in, did he get the steal? He didn't.
Joseph got it. It's the second Elder Treant going over to Cloud9. They were very good at stealing them away in the last game. This game, they're just very good at securing them for their own, and yet to see Rogue really be able to dominate this mid game. I want to see a little bit more from them. I say that we're only 3.5 minutes in. Perhaps I'm speaking a little bit too preemptively, but at least we've got some early kills in this game to nominate. We didn't have to wait for the 20-minute mark before we saw first blood.
Yeah, definitely a little bit quicker pace, and upon the Original did come in and try to get that aggressive rotation down. He didn't himself get the CS, but that's fine because they're allowing Hammy to get online that way. The Poison Shiv is almost complete. That is going to shut down some of the healing that Gabe Vizzle is going to give himself and his teammates. Obviously, the Churnwalker, when enemies that are on that hook and chain get damaged, it does heal him up a little bit, so Hammy can actually shut down some of Gabe Vizzle's sustain. Just by getting some basic attacks in, starting a fight off by building up some breaking point stacks onto Gabe Vizzle will reduce what he's able to do in the fight. But now everybody rotating down. It looks like Joseph, pretty hurt, is just going to have to rotate back through his jungle, and we're not going to see another engagement here out of these two teams.
But once again, we see Cloud9 doing what they do best, being that three-man coordinated unit, coming over saying, okay, we know they're going to try and invade towards our mid-treant. Let's protect it a little bit. Let's give a bit of safety to I Love Joseph so he can get through this early and mid-game where he's a little bit weaker than the Krull and get to the late-game portion, get to that level 8, get to that Shatterglass where he can really poke into this Rogue lineup.
Yeah, and on the Original over here looks to be going towards probably a Tension Bow first item. He is basically at the gold to buy that item. He's just going to have to rotate down to the shop, whereas I Love Joseph is still about, 800 gold away from his first tier 3, but here comes Pond, but old school, good timing there.
Yeah, pretty happy to be able to force Pond the Original back. It was coming in. The one-shot, one-kill will connect. Doesn't quite do all of his health, but does half for the time being, and Rogue now once again on the back foot as Cloud9 have the ever so slight advantage in this game. Nothing too consequential for them, but they're pretty happy just playing a slower early to mid portion of this game and waiting for their two carries to come online.
Absolutely, and a little bit of a flavor out there from old school. Just saying, I know you're there. I don't need this ultimate in the next 40 seconds, so we're just going to pop you with it real quick. But I do want to make note of this scout trap that Rogue have in Cloud9's Tribush. Gabe Vizzle might find it right now, but it's been there for a while. They've been able to see a lot of rotations that Cloud9 has made down into the jungle, and it does now finally get popped. I mean, that scout trap was there for like 3 minutes, catching every single time anybody from Cloud9 touched that bush. So good gold worth there out of that item.
On the Original, realizing he's not getting too much out of the jungle, is now in the lane looking for that From Hell's Heart. They can get it onto old school. There's the Impale. The Crucible comes out. The wait for it as well. It's just actually a reflex block, not a full Crucible, but Rogue unable to get the full engage. Did use it from Hell's Heart.
Oh,
Stun
no.
gonna land back onto Evil. He's taking a lot of damage from that turret. One shot, one kill.
Hammy!
He blocks it up. A great hook and chain though. He's gonna land on towards the Lance. Pulls him back with the Torment. But upon the Original goes for the re-engage as Rogue trying to turn this one around. Oh, just about survives. The damage on Gabe Vizzle is enough. And that will be a kill for C9. Superb stuff by them to turn around a fight that was initiated by Rogue.
That was like the greatest clip of exactly how hook and chain work. He had Evol hooked. He was sitting back by the turret, very safe from the remaining members of Cloud9, but Hammy also had that hook and chain on him, and Cloud9 were able to put enough damage onto Hammy that it actually killed Evil. And that's not something we usually see. Usually the fights are so chaotic. We'll get into the replay here. This was great play out of Gabe Bizzle. The Torment pulling Evil back into range. The Trespass coming through, stunning him, made him take an extra turret shot. Hammy made a great play, though. He did body block that one-shot, one-kill, and saved Evol's life for a second, but it was Old School able to make it out there. There's that hook and chain damage I was just talking about. Hammy will make it out, on the original will make it out, but they lose out on Evil. It's just a little bit more gold netted for Cloud9. Big on points coming out of Joseph now that he has the Shatterglass complete.
Doing so much work. Level 8 as well has an infusion ticking over. Upon the original, looking for a bit of an engage. The wait for it comes out as well, but Rogue still unable to find the exact fight that they wanted. And C9 now have a 1,000 gold lead. They have their poke online. They've got a Sorrow Blade completed on towards the Kestrel as well. They're 3 kills to 1 up. It's looking pretty devastating for Rogue as their chances of getting to Worlds are slipping away between their fingers.
Yeah, and we know how strong this Kestrel in 2.9.1 can be, so they have to fear Old School getting into the late game. Hammy is really going to be the one we need to watch on the side of Rogue. He has the Poison Shiv and he has the Sorrow Blade, but he needs to get that breaking point online and needs to be able to dance around the fights long enough to scale it up. And at that point, he can really start to take things over. But if we don't ever see him get into the positioning and build up those stacks, it's going to be very easy for Old School and I Love Joseph to just return the damage down quickly. And if they kill Hammy, there's not a lot that Pawn the Original can do.
Yeah, even with that tension bow, just won't have the damage to go through these C9 members. I'm loving Gabe Bizzle this series. First game he was incredible on that Lyra, getting some great arcane passages. This game he's showing his team who the true carry is. He's 3-0-0, has secured every kill for Cloud9 thus far, showing that you can carry from any role in Vainglory, one of the benefits of this game as a whole. Cloud9 are pushing in towards this turret in the lane as well. Want to speed up this game a little bit. The crits coming out from Old School, those glimmers. Good Impale is going to land. There's the from Hell's Heart as well. The fountain comes out, the wait for it, the stun, the mortal wounds. Joseph somehow gets himself away with the Rose offensive, and this will not be enough damage from Rose to close it out. Old School turns back towards Pawn the Original. The Impale lands though. The reflex box is a little bit too late. Joseph's the first to fall. A good Githian wall. Evol's going to go down as well. 1-for-1 trade, but Hammy is now underneath the turret and he'll go down as well. Overextends once again, and C9 able to get 2 kills in exchange for just 1.
That was a crazy fight underneath the turret there. Rogue did such a good job of burning the fountain out early out of Gabe Bizzle, and I Love Joseph was still very low. They did not need to commit that far. Yes, they were able to get the kill when Joseph came back in, but he came back in because of how overextended they were, because of the positioning they put themselves into. They weren't able to take the turret, they weren't able to take the whole fight. So looking at the actual gains there, Cloud9, they take a little bit of an edge on that fight, just obviously in the way the trade worked. But, you know, Rogue, if they would have just backed off a little bit and allowed I Love Joseph to recall or head down to the jungle, they could have looked to put on some serious aggression onto Cloud9. They stuck around a little too long, just a hair too far. The on point came through and they were able to drop Pawn the Original and trade it out in a 2-for-1. But now Cloud9, I think they get this turn.
Yeah, I don't really see Rogue being able to react quickly enough to this. The turret goes down, first one of the game, 11 minutes in. Bed up from the last game indeed, and Cloud9 now just retreat back towards their turret. You know, it's safe, it's about half health, they'll be fine with that for the time being. Quickly looking across the items, Old School has finished that first Tyrant's Monocle and the Sorrow Blade. Gavers has gone Journey Boots alongside the Atlas, try and continually chase onto these Rogue members. Hammy's still only sitting on a Poison Shiv and a Sorrow Blade. Need to see a little bit more from him. He's one of the key damage sources for this Rogue lineup, and if he's not hitting that 3 items that we talked about earlier on, he's really not going to be able to output enough DPS here. But they're going to get the engage onto Old School. Waitfoot comes out as well. There's the fountain. Old School trying to heal up. He's not going to have enough. He does somehow. Once again, get away. Githian wall into the Impale. There's the one-shot, one kill onto that front line as Rogue continue just searching for a kill. Pawn the Original going deep. But that is going to get chased away here by the C9 members. A good Impale. There's the first kill for Rogue. And now they'll turn their eyes towards the next target. Another good Githian wall as Rogue continually push into the jungle of C9. They've got 2, they're looking for 3. Just need to get Gabe Vizzle as well. Thus far unkilled this game, but perhaps that won't last for too long, as there's the Impale. A kill for Evil. The Roam's doing a lot of work this game, and it's an ace for Team Rogue.
I can't stress how careful you have to be against a Lance in the jungle. There's just so much obstacles around that he can stun you up with that Githian wall. And Evil is a fantastic captain. It's actually kind of amazing just how good he is, especially when he gets onto the Lance or the Lyra. Obviously, in this case, it is that Lance. And Rogue are able to even things out as far as the kills go 5-5. They pick up that first turret, but they have taken a gold lead now. It's not massive, but 700 is an edge.
Evil has Echo for this fight as well. If they can get a good engage, perhaps they can catch out Cloud9, but Old School was able to active camo away, and the Rose offensive used defensively by I Love Joseph to get himself to safety as well. So I'm liking this a bit more from Rogue. They're being a bit more aggressive. They know that, you know, Cloud9 aren't in the best position to defend. They seem to be on a bit more of an even playing field, and they need to take this game by the scruff of the neck. They need to make these aggressive plays if they're going to be able to secure that spot in Worlds.
Yeah, absolutely. So they'll be looking for it. One shot, one kill. Gonna miss there. And now Rogue know where Cloud9 are. But Cloud9, they're gonna get a chance to shop if they need to. Actually, looks like they've already done so. Old School has that second monocle online. This is where Kestrel really starts to take off. But on the original is in a pretty comfortable spot here on the scroll as well. He'll likely be looking to finish the Atlas Pauldron here pretty soon. Or not Atlas Pauldron, the Metal Jacket, so that he can frontline some of that damage coming out of Kestrel. And he's picked up an infusion and is now taking an aggressive spot here, but Cloud9, they're looking to go ahead and recall back. So no fight's going to break out here. And there's so much on the line for Rogue right now. They have to find some way to get another fight here. I think that last fight, they really won because Cloud9 stuck around a lot longer than they needed to.
I totally agree with you there. We see double infusions coming out from the side of Rogue, where there's only a single one thus far on Cloud9, and it's only a level 11 one, so 2 level 12s for Rogue, whereas only Old School has a level 11 in Fusion. It looks like Joseph's going back. He'll get himself one, so that's level 12, but they're going to lose a smallish gold miner. This one isn't going to be too instrumental in the big course of things. Probably going to be about 150 gold or so, I'd say, maybe even less than that. Oh, 240. Actually, a little bit more than expected, so still a 600 gold swing or so. Very even between these two teams as the 15-minute mark comes up. 1,300 gold, the difference, and we know that that really doesn't mean too much coming up to this later portion of the game.
Hammy has the breaking point online now, and this is where the chances for Rogue really start to come together. This is where Hammy can start to be that hyper carry that Rogue need. And as Cloud9 rotate up, they'll spot out Rogue. They won't be jumping into anything, but both of these teams, now that the Kraken's on the board, have to be incredibly careful. The team that wins this next fight probably wins the game. Not off that push.
Nah, but they probably get enough advantage to win the game, because you get a turret, you get to take the Kraken, you get scout trap awareness, and you get to push your vision line further into the jungle of the enemy team, which means it's a lot harder for them to push forward. Evil is looking for the engage here. There's the metal jacket. Look at that chunk. Evil's already down to about half HP. Hammy's going to be engaged on. Walker looking for the torment back. And great from his heart with the wait for it. The stun combination on towards that black feather as they try and chase Joseph out. The fountain comes down. Evo stunned up once again. Crucible not going to block it out. The chain doesn't connect. And C9 now running straight into the faces of Rogue. They don't care that Rogue are looking for that world spot. They want to deny it from them. One shot, one kill does not connect onto Evil, who will have to back away. He's already used the fountain. And now C9 could start up the Kraken if they wished. Do they have the vision awareness? Do they have the imperative to go for it? No, they don't. Back to base, they say. And they reset for the next fight in this series.
Yeah, and the reason Cloud9 were able to apply so much pressure in that last fight, Evil has positionally played this game almost perfect. However, he does not have any armor at all. We saw those glimmer shots coming out of Old School, big 600 damage spikes coming down on the Evil. And while he may have a lot of health, once you've taken 3 or 4 glimmer shots, That's thousands of damage, and it makes it very difficult. And that's why Evil dropped so heavily in that last fight, was because they weren't able to get Old School down on the initial engagement they were looking for. And at that point, Old School had kited himself back, got himself into a very safe position, and then was able to poke Evil out. And with the fountain forced out, and Evil being as low as he was, there was no way for Rogue to come back into that fight safely. They guaranteed would have lost Evil just to start off, and then it would have been a matter of Kroll trying to chase down Kestrel, who's going to be able to pop that active camo, and has the Churn Walker to help kind of more favorably position the Kroll when he's trying to get onto ult.
Upon the original on this, Krill has gone for the Poison Shift Tension Bow build here as well. No breaking point, no stacking really, apart from just the weakness stacks that Krill has naturally. So very intrigued to see how that plays out in this next fight. Is the healing from Gabriel's actually that impactful that they need these double poison shivs, especially when you've got a Vox to apply the mortal wounds? Here we go. The Kraken has been started up. Good vision awareness for both the teams. Scout traps haven't been cleared out too well yet by Rogue. They spot one, but there's still one in the back of that Kraken pit. And Rogue just going to try and push forward ever so slightly into C9 here, but not knowing where Old School is so dangerous. And he gets pulled back. Pon the Original dancing around. There's the wait for it. The block comes out, but Pon the Original is going to jump in. A great Githian wall. They're trying to start up Old School. Another Githian with the Echo. They get the first kill, and there's the Fountain coming out as well as Rogue trying to hold on to their world spot. They're fighting for their lives. The Impale on towards the Churn. Can they get more damage out here? It's all on Evil. A great stun once again, but Rogue just don't have the damage. They don't have the tankiness in that backline to continue this. And they will just back away. They take down Old School, but is it enough for Rogue to win out this game?
Well, they got the kill on Old School out of a great engagement coming out of Evil. He was able to come in. The Impale was blocked, but because Old School used his ultimate, he was still locked up for a second there, and that allowed Upon the Original to get in, followed up with a couple Githian walls out of Evil, and you have yourself a dead Kestrel. And now Rogue, they are working on this Kraken, and they can secure it fairly easily with a Kroll. Here we go!
From Hell's Heart straight onto I Love Joseph, the one-shot one kill only hits off towards the Kraken. Joseph getting chased off towards the side, somehow survives, but eventually a Resonance Bounce hits him, and now the Kraken's going to go across towards Rogue. Perhaps that's all they need, perhaps that's the fight they need to continue this battle in this best of three. They are 1-0 down and so close to slipping away from that world spot, but they continue to fight. They have the resilience and the mental strength to say, not today, Cloud9, not today will you stop us from going to Singapore.
And Iraqi on the desk was talking about it earlier. You know, Cloud9 may have had a rough couple of weeks in the past few weeks, but they are the two-time champion. You cannot sleep on them. The same could very easily be said about Rogue. This team has done such a great job climbing to the top. They, weren't looking great last season. And coming into autumn, they switched everything around, and they have been looking amazing. They are taking it to Cloud9 right now, looking to push us to a game number 3. And if they're able to find a fight here, they could easily do so. This Kraken is taking quite a bit of damage, though.
Yeah. It's going to get chunked out before it gets towards the crystal turrets. Against the Kestrel, against the Black Feather, you expect it to die pretty quickly, but they break out the choke turret, and that's so important for Rogue as they continue to fight for their lives here. They are only 2,000 gold ahead. Doesn't really matter too much at this stage. It's much more about how the team fights play out, how the ultimates are used. We've seen great combos of the Impale to get rid of the Crucible, and then, not the Crucible, the Reflex Box, sorry. And then to get the wait for it out alongside the From Hell's Heart. If they can get that combo, they can take out Old School early on in a fight. But if it doesn't quite connect, Rogue then have to dance around the edges of the fight and look for a chance to re-engage.
Yeah, they do, but Rogue's taking away some farm here, looking to get just a little additional gold in their pocket. It'll give them enough to possibly get a re-infuse onto Evil, who's finally picked up some armor. As well as Pon the Original could be looking to get an extra infusion here as well. He has the gold to do so. His infusion is about a third. I do want to make note, though, I think Hammy bought the wrong infusion. So Hammy had to pick up a crystal infusion and just had to spend 500 additional gold to get the right one. So a little bit of a mistap there in the shop. Going to punish about 500 gold away from Hammy, but he's full build. He doesn't care. By the time his infusion's gone, he'll have another one, so...
He should
Still
be
funny.
okay.
Still funny.
If it was like 500 gold between him and completing his metal jacket or something, maybe then we could spot it. But with him being full build, it doesn't matter too much at all. The Crystal Sentry respawns for Cloud9. They're all back behind that turret as they go back towards the base, but they're just going to get their Crystal Sentry eliminated, and poor dude will fall once again. The one-shot, one-kill on the original doesn't really do too much. The Sentry goes down, and with the Kraken spawning relatively soon as well, Rogue are trying to get vision control around this. We talked about how important it is, how important that fight was around the Kraken, and the person that takes the first Kraken is probably going to win the game, and this is why. It's because you get this vision advantage. You get to push up a little bit more aggressively, and you get to look for the fights onto Gabriel. The Impale doesn't connect. The Githian Wall already been used, and perhaps Rogue realise now that they cannot really engage without that Lance. They need to wait for the cooldowns to come back up. Here we go. It's back. He rolls forward. Impale blocked out. There's the Crucible. Wait for it. Doesn't connect. And Pon the original looking to get on towards Old School. I Love Joseph jumps off towards the other side, and Old School's already dead at the start of this fight. And that's a great fight for Rogue as they take down one member of C9. Another Impale. E-Ball is absolutely deadly this game, landing Impale after Impale. There's nothing this man can't do. He's putting Cloud9 on a skewer and getting the kills for his team. Rogue now pushing in 2 kills up, and they can look to take the Kraken, even just push in this wave, and maybe even go for the Crystal Turret.
Yeah, they definitely can look for some aggression here. I Love Joseph does have that Rose offensive, so he'll be able to get out of a sticky situation if timed correctly. Death timers are getting pretty low, though, so Rogue have to be very careful here. If they stick around too long and Cloud9 are able to come up and force a fight in their base, it could be a game turning around very quickly, but they're going to look to turn their attention now onto the Kraken, very likely. They've got 18 seconds on Game Visual, but Old School's coming up right now. Can Rogue do this? Can they get this Kraken and push us to a Game 3 and keep their hopes of the world spot online? On is setting up for an aggressive gank if they come down to try to contest it.
One shot, one kill steal. A little bit too early there from Old School. It doesn't take it away, and this will be Rogue securing the Kraken. You have to think. I don't think that Cloud9 will be able to get hit in time. Their second Kraken of the game does go over to Rogue, and continually showing us their mental strength and their ability to fight back from losing situations. It's one of the reasons that they had such a great turnaround between last split and this. Just so strong when it comes to these tense clutch situations. So many players who show up big in the big moments. Here comes Pon the original from the flank. Doesn't quite want to engage yet, but Rogue are going to let Kraken push up for them. Pon the original once again gets behind the side of C9. Has the From Hell's Heart, all ultimates available, waiting for that combo. But once again, Gabriel runs forward. They're going to look for that backline. Joseph stunned into the wall. Another Githian wall comes out. They're looking for the Old School, but they cannot quite get onto the Kestrel. And now Rogue need to disengage for the time being because Cloud9 can take a re-engage here. Evil jumps in with the Impale, gets a double, but he's so low already. The kill onto Evil, that's huge because Rogue now are 2 against 3, and Cloud9 trying to turn this one around. They'll get another Pon. The original's dead, and Gabriel's chasing on towards Hammy. The Kraken's pushing in, but Cloud9 don't care a damn at all about it. They're going for Hammy, who runs away with the boots. Old School's on the flank, tries to land the Glimmer. Hammy's like, oh, which way can I go? Not many ways, my friend. He's going to get taken out. It's an ace for Cloud9. The Kraken will get a Crystal Turret, but it shouldn't get too much more.
That was a really questionable chase out of Cloud9 there. They were doing such a good job keeping flares onto Old School, making sure he was playing too far back to actually get damage down onto anybody. But Evil ends up sticking around a little too long. He drops very early on. They turn quickly onto Pon the original. And then they spent so much time chasing Hammy. One could argue it was to get the ace, but I mean, with the wave the way it was, the Kraken was alive, there was going to be no wave at all. They really are only going to get 1 turret now off of this push. They very likely could have just taken down the Kraken, pushed the wave up at that point. They likely could have got 2 turrets because they would have had, you know, that was like a 30 or 40 second chase. And, you know, with only Hammy able to contest and the amount of objective damage that Old School does, they probably could have got a substantially better golden incentivized push off of it, as well as break the base of Rogue. Now, they're down to 1 turret, and this is a risky spot for Cloud9 to be in. They have to fight this next fight perfectly, because if either Old School or Joseph die, and all of Rogue are still up, they can probably just push in at that point. They have a tanky enough front line in this Lance and this Kroll. They could just go in and tank up that turret and bring it down.
Joseph has completed his build now with that Dragon's Eye, just waiting on the Boots upgrade next, but looking in a pretty strong situation on the CP. Blackfeather has been a thorn in the side for many teams this patch. Blackfeather banned out more often than he's played a lot of the time at the moment because of how strong he is, both weapon and crystal power. And we've seen glimpses of that this game, but Joseph hasn't really come online. Only picked up 1 kill across the course of the 8 that his team have secured. Gaviz getting the first 4 of those probably didn't help too much, but I'm sure he wanted to have a little bit more impact. And now Rogue are looking for a flank. They might even just wait for Old School here, who's all by his lonesome. They don't go for the engager. They're going to go for the crystal turret. What's the call here, Rogue? This could be the call that ends your shots at Worlds or that secures your spot. As one of the best teams in North America, they wait for the wave. Now they're going in. They're pushing for it. C9 starting to stagger their backs. Now realize that Rogue have gone for it. The wait for it comes out. That's the crystal turret falling. And C9 are too little too late here as Rogue are going to be able to take the crystal. You have to think it's on Hammy just to take it down. The crystal falls and Rogue equalize the series at 1-1.
That was a great call coming out of the end there. They waited specifically for that minion wave to pass, knowing that it was going to be, another 20 seconds before another minion wave was coming out. They went ahead, went right past. There was no vision for the side of Cloud9 at that choke point, and they were